This is Curtis at Spread Studios, coming back at you with another sports talk conversation. This time it's going to be about a pretty touchy subject and pretty popular subject, the evaluation of Tua. And you got fans saying he's going to be great. You have fans saying he stinks. You have the media now coming out, which I'm so surprised, coddling any talk about Tua. I heard one pretty famous guy say it's Tua slander. And I hear other people saying, well, we can't really, all his judgment's not fair, it's not right. And to a certain extent, you have to say, I agree. I have to say I agree. I mean, you don't, but I kind of do. But on the other side, I think they're wrong. So what this talk's going to be about is going to be a lead up to two other videos. Maybe one. I don't know. We'll see. One or two. We're really going to take a strong look at Tua's game. Not his stats. Not what somebody said about him. But his game in context. But first, I want to use this to set up these other two videos because there's so many people that have deep feelings for Tua. And it's fair. You know, it's fair. The guy, like I've said in all my other videos, Tua is a nice guy. And in today's day and age, you don't get as many nice guys as you used to. And sadly to say, nice guys finish more last now than they ever have. So you see a young kid come out. He's famous, he's good looking, gets drafted high, and he's humble, and he's nice. It's just natural for anybody who's got a heart to want to defend him, to want to see him do well. And I am on that boat. But then there's another way to look at it. Evaluations come to everybody. Whether it's the guy driving the bus, the girl running a business, the football player, even the guy who's cutting film on the teams, the lowest job practically except coffee boy, he's getting evaluated. Now, there's two kinds of evaluation. There's poor evaluation and there's good evaluation. Neither one is 100% accurate, but one's better than the other. And again, with this heart getting tied up, it strikes me because I remember growing up with Dan Marino. And I remember the Riggins run. Dolphins lost the Super Bowl. It was the first time I got to see the Dolphins in a game. Big deal. So excited. Thought we were going to win. I didn't really know anything about football, so I was like in the bag. And there was this run. The next thing I know, the Dolphins are losing. It blew my mind, you know, you little kid. But I got over it. 2 years later, Dan Marino starts breaking all these records. Young boy, you know, just learning the game, loves football. Now you got this superstar guy on your team who's epic. Gets to the Super Bowl. Then you know the deal. Blown out. Not his fault. We're getting to another day. And if you're Dan Marino, for a Dolphin fan at the time, you saw this guy carrying a team in your heart. You know, your heart was with him. You know? So the years pass. We're closing in 99 season. It's toward the tail end of the season. Dan Marino's struggling. Now, I didn't understand some of the context behind it. I still really didn't understand football, you know, played in, I was played high school. How old was I then? I was like maybe my late 20s. I was out of high school. Anyway, Marino's playing poorly. Now this is my idol. And I remember screaming, get him out of there. And like it struck me because everyone else was too. I'm like, this is my idol, and I felt bad. But the reality is, all the way up until that point, I didn't see it because I wasn't fairly evaluating. Now, this doesn't mean that Tua is playing poorly and we're covering up for him because we like him. Some people just don't like the Dolphins or don't like Tua, and so it's a negative flip back and forth. But we have to understand, Tua is a professional football player. He's a man of character. The guy is smart. He's a hard worker. He's risen up. He's risen up from nowhere to go to the top college program, to succeed there, to be injured in one of the most horrific injuries we've seen in a long time for a top athlete, to rehab himself out, get to the NFL, and get drafted 5th overall. Tua is not weak. He is a strong, good man of character. And criticism never hurt nobody. Never hurts anybody. I don't do the double negative. I went to school for English, so one of my teachers are out there. I got to make sure I get it right. Criticism will do one thing. It will reveal your weak character, or it will drive you to work harder. Let's take note. Let's look at the greatest quarterback out there. And some of you might not like him, and I'll say one of the greatest quarterbacks out there, Tom Brady. Tom Brady struggled to get starting job in college, drafted at back end of day 3, maybe the early part of day 3, goes to the Patriots with Bill Belichick, who's not nice to anybody, except, if you're Lawrence Taylor. So other than that, you're getting a mouthful. And we know that Tom Brady got a mouthful from day 1 after being told he wasn't good enough, drafted late, struggling pretty much in college. People are saying, oh, man, Bledsoe went down and this guy's going in. Oh. And what did he do? He carried that on his shoulders. He turned that from a negative into a positive. And even now, every slight, every criticism, he uses that for fodder for success. Are you saying Tua can't do that? I mean, all the people that love him out there, all the people who are trying to protect him, are you saying that I believe in him? Now, I'm not saying he will, but when you have the type of intelligence, character, upbringing, circle of quality humans around you, head coach, like Tua has, he has every asset to succeed. Now, again, this does not mean he will succeed. And it does not mean he won't succeed. We're still in the evaluation phase. Tua is not great, and he's not a bust. The reality is he could be neither or either. He could be average. He could be above average. He could be very good. We have to see. Plenty of people like to use anecdotal evidence. And anecdotal evidence is, I take this little thing here and I build a story around it, and then I come to a conclusion over here. Doesn't mean that anecdotal evidence is wrong. It could be correct, but it's not going to have the highest level of accuracy as if you are using evidential, using evidence, using proofs to build a case. This is how you have your best chance of success. And so this is what I would like to do. Finishing up this video to build the framework, the thesis of the next video or two, to give you, the viewers, the opportunity to come to your own conclusion. I'll have a conclusion. I'll present my evidence. I will try to refrain from anecdotal evidence. And I'm going to prep through this. I went to school for journalism. I went to school to write thesis papers. I'm no rocket scientist, but I understand the process. And so I want to give because look, reality is, a lot of these media types that cover multiple sports, covering multiple teams. I mean, there's no time to actually study and build really good cases. Same with fans. How many of you guys have a job or 2 jobs? How do you have time to sit down and study? Some people do. Some people, that's their hobby. Some people, that's their passion, the game, to know what's going on. Some people just want to watch the game to get away from it all, to enjoy, to see their team win. So what we're trying to do here is present a fair case for you to make a decision. And at the end of it, you could say I'm wrong, but you won't say that I just pulled it out of my rear end. You know what I mean? Maybe you could. We'll see. But judging, I hear all the time. And I really feel like it's a cheap way to eval anybody, much less a rookie quarterback. They'll talk about how good he was in college. You can't talk. You know how many poor players or average players have turned out to be excellent in the pros? You don't have the same talent around you as you do in the pros. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. You know, what he did there, again, look at Tim Tebow. Look at all the success. You know, some people debate whether he could have been successful here or not. That's talk for another day. But college is college. And it's even more acute in Tua's situation. That injury, I mean, go back and take a look. That's like a Bo Jackson injury. You ever see Bo Jackson's injury? He's running, he gets tackled the wrong way, and that leg hits and the hip just gets, ugh. Tua had two guys on the knee. His right knee got planted on the ground. All that weight came down on his hip, dislocated. The fact that he's gotten this far, unbelievable. It's a severe injury. Now, there's so much technology out there today, medical science, that he could, and technique changes to his game. We'll get into that as well. He could come back, have a stronger arm, being healthier than he was in college. Could. There's no guarantees. Could. When Miami drafted him 5th overall, they said, look at this guy. He wouldn't be here at 5. He's got an injury. That's why he's here. Let's roll the dice. That's what they did. So, and remember, and this is something even for me, I like I said, do the whole Dolphins thing, study right all the time. I didn't even realize what hip was the actually injured hip, which it makes a difference. So it was that right leg. All right, so you can't judge him by college. Can't judge him by wins and losses. It's so funny. I understand that you got Hall of Famers and pros in the media telling them more about football by the time they were 23 than I know about football. But they're up there. One hand, they talk, it's the greatest team sport ever. And then another hand, well, how many Super Bowls the quarterback has or how well he did in the big games determines who he is. There is some truth to that. But the reality is football is the greatest team sport. One missed block by a guard could destroy the game-winning play. Is that the quarterback's fault? So it's context. So wins and losses, hey, if Tua was throwing 20 picks, then you could say, all right. But in the situation that we saw him in, it's very limited data to say, oh, he has 6 wins and 3 losses. He did better than Herbert. And that's not a way to accurately judge. Handful of plays I'll see all the time. Oh, Tua is going to be the greatest ever. And they'll show you 5 plays. And they'll break it down and see what he did here. And you could do that on any player practically. You could turn any player into a joke just about, if they're not like obviously hyper elite. Or you could turn them into a superstar by grabbing a handful of plays. I understand a lot of these guys. I watch their channels all the time. I learn from them. But there's not really much context. You want to create context by what a player does in his role within that play, and that play then developed over the course of the drive. Then you take the series of drives and you look how they did over a quarter in context, and then over a half, then over the game, and then over the season. And when you watch every single play and you understand what's going on around him, then you have the best ability to create an evaluation. Okay, now, never going to be 100%, but we're talking about best case accuracy. I could put the worst offensive line in front of you, and I could look at the running back, and he could have 3.2 yards per carry. That guy's garbage, right? Now look at Walter Payton. Go back and watch Walter Payton. For a while, he had some terrible lines. Now, but Walter Payton would carry the team. He would break blocks like nobody's business. He would lift up the offensive line. But again, he's Hall of Fame, one of the top 3 best running backs ever. 4, maybe if you So, but generally speaking, for most players, their success is based on those around them. And so you have to always add that context, and you have to do that over a course. And that's what we're going to do with Tua. We're going to go look at his Bills game, and we're going to build context around that game, and we're going to see how he performed play by play, adding context of the drives. It's going to be a little bit long, but if you're interested and you really want to understand where Tua's at, this is what we're going to do. So, again, I said media types, their job is to make news, to have talk shows. They even, I think Colin Cowherd said, he says, like, I don't know really. I'm just in the informational business. So he's grabbing a bunch of information. He's grabbing statistics, metrics, analytics, and he's putting it all together, and he's coming up with an opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not as accurate as somebody watching film. Okay? So we're going to take a little break here a second. I want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, our sponsors. They have a new promo that's going on. Check down in the link below. It's very hot. People that are interested, I would definitely click and give it a look. All right, we're going to go back now. Now, if you've played football, you understand that football is a very difficult sport the higher you go. It's a grinder's sport. It's so complex that you could have 11 guys on offense. 10 guys do everything right. The 11th guy, he does everything right, but he uses wrong leverage on a block. Tight end comes out. He's supposed to have inside leverage. Instead, he gets outside leverage and the play dies. One little miscue of technique can destroy all the perfect work of those around you. So grinding on film, grinding on technique, on physical. You look at Jerry Rice. You look at a lot of these modern players, what they do, the elite ones, all of them, but at the highest level I'm talking about. That's how they get to be elite. They grind day in, day out. They put the time, the effort. They outwork. This is how a lot of guys come from college, and they weren't so hot, but they come in here, they learn early what it takes to be a professional, and they're grinding, and they outwork the guy on the other side of the ball. And all of a sudden, they're starting. Now all of a sudden, they start getting accolades based on, look at Zach Thomas. You Dolphins fans, Zach Thomas was the grinder. Everybody he'd ever faced, people I think who he didn't face, he had notebooks, binders filled of information from film study, stacked. But that's who he was. That's why he should be in the Hall of Fame. Zach Thomas should be in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, it's about grinding. But not everybody's got the time. Like I said, some people, they just want enjoyment. Other people are passionate about the sport. Other people are passionate about, just the excitement of it, or understanding it, or trying to guess what's going on. There's all kinds of enjoyment you can get from sports, especially football. So pros, like I said, like Zach Thomas, and coaching staff, you have the tight end coach. He takes the film of just his tight ends. He watches the whole offensive line and the offense too, but then he just takes the film on the tight ends and he watches that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again all week long, just to get an understanding. Now, I learned that I love the game. I remember when I was in junior college, I would sit on a treadmill, I'd put the VCR on of Barry Sanders. And my favorite game was the Barry Sanders Emmitt Smith game. And I'd watch that over and over again, super slow-mo, trying to study, trying to emulate. Obviously, couldn't, but you're looking at where you want to go. I watch over and over and over again. That was like my first understanding of like, oh wow, I like watching tape and what you can get from tape. Pros, they watch it over and over again, and actually they can acquire muscle memory from that. So they'll do it over and over again. So then when I started writing for the Fins News 6-7 years ago, I started learning I would go get all 22. Now, some people don't have the money. It's a little expensive, if you get the NFL package, but all 22 is phenomenal. That's what the coaches use. That's what the players use. A little higher quality. I think NFL sticks us on the lack of quality, high definition, but we won't get there. I'll watch every single Dolphins game 6 to 10 times. I'll watch it in super slow-mo, play after play. And you know what? After 10 times in super slow-mo, I still don't really have all the answers. So it's very difficult to make true evaluations. So Tua, young rookie, coming out of college with a major injury, no preseason, came on when his team was on the verge of the playoffs. So I was like sticky, so he gets pulled out twice. The situation, the context makes his evaluations very difficult. Not impossible. And again, current, present, and past evaluations do not determine future evaluations. That's the beauty. So anyway, we're going to work on that here. And that's the point what I'm trying to get to here. I don't have all the answers. The guys you see on the big channels, they don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. The head coaches don't have all the answers. The players don't have all the answers. We're all just guessing. Some of us have more knowledge. Some of us have more time. Some of us have more interest. But we're all in the process of coming to an evaluation. So Ace per Head Studios is going to do sports talk. I've been talking to him about trying to get more into the analytical parts of it to present really good information. I'm no guru. I'll tell you that right now. I got too much jackass in me to be a guru. I am going to you heard some of my pronouncings of the names. That's just a piece of my jackass. But I'm not enough of a jackass to want to be a shock jock. I'm not coming here to say Tua's garbage, so, or Tua's the greatest, so I get views. I believe in the journalistic method and the journalistic integrity. And I believe that my job is to be honest. I could be wrong. I know I'm going to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to be right too. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't know how to do it any other way. And I'm going to show you that I really try, at least for the Dolphins. I mean, I talked about the Bills, and I had some Bills fans contact me, and it was great to hear from them because I was wrong in some parts. I didn't have the context. And I think that Truth to Hearts, I had a good conversation with him in the comments. And he was talking about, I'd use the PFF grades and it lacked context. And I said, you know what? You're right. You're totally right. But it's the most expedient way for me to process information, to present it. You know what I'm saying? But it has some value. But in truth, it does not bring total context. So I'm going to try to bring total context. Not a guru. I'm not going to be a shock jock. With the next episode or 2, though, it's going to be a lot of tape. All right? Going to let you see. We're going to use college film with Tua. Going to use some other film to wrap around it. And then use that as context to go over his last game against the Bills. Because really, by the time he got to the Bills game, he had plenty of experience. And he had time to heal. And he had time to get his feet under him somewhat. So really, the games beforehand, I'm not really too excited about. You got to expect, given all the situation, that you got to put a mulligan on everything, the good and the bad. Okay? Because opposing defenses didn't know what to expect. By the time he got to the Bills game, they had enough tape to say, all right, this is his strength, this is his weakness. Let's impose this to try to make him beat us with his weakness. Or to try to be so strong in his strength that he overcomes us. So the Bills game is a perfect game. The pressure, being away, not having the backup of Fitzpatrick, having to carry you on your own. And, right away you'll say, oh, he sucked in that game, or we lost at 50, whatever. No, just look at the tape, work in context, come to our own evaluation. Okay, now, just want to say this one last time. You cannot watch a football game live, hit the off button on a TV, and expect to be highly accurate in your evaluations. Brian Flores, man, who I love, dude. Oh, just a good coach, man. He always says that. They always say, well, what'd you think about this play? What'd you think about that play? He's like, I don't know. Let me go look at the tape. And he's like, I just love to look at tape. One time they had a break and they're like, what are you going to do? You're going to go, Disney World or something. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go. But I really want to go. Can't wait to go home and watch tape. So, you might want to watch some of these games more than once. If you really, you could be right. There's people out there I see all the time, man. I read, a lot of comments, different blogs, stuff. The game's just over and they bum, bum, bum. Some people have gifts. Some people see certain positions, situations, better than others and all that. But ultimately, there's no way you can make a true full evaluation for the most part, after one view. All right. So the future, as Mark and Jose got back in the comments, and they were like, Tua's going to shock you. Tua's on the way. I hope they're right. And this is for them. The tape is clear on 2020. It is what it is. It's a produced, finished product. Now, it doesn't determine, there's context, like I said, and all that other stuff. But the good news is that tape doesn't determine the 2021 tape. And so for Mark and Jose, you could be totally, totally correct. There's so many things in play to help Tua rise out of this fog that's around him. Just like Tom Brady, just like all the other ones is, you stood about and they rise up. But it's not guaranteed, but the possibility is there. So that's the great news. The future's not written. So I hope you join us next time. Hope you enjoyed this and you understand where I'm coming from. Hopefully you'll take that journey on the next 2 parts. Thank you for making it through to the end. If you enjoyed what you watched, please like, comment, and subscribe. Most of all, comment, because I want to learn. More stuff that you point out to me that I'm wrong, or more good ideas you give me, smarter I look in the future. Thank you very much. Take care and be well.